Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Hoopla Y'all show. I'm your host, Shay Rippinger of Hoopla. And the Hoopla Y'all show, I talk about health, humor, and hooping. In this episode, shift happens. Yes, shift happens. This is the last part, number 5 of the Body Positive series. And we covered body confidence, we covered how to stop apologizing, how that you're already awesome, and the WWAF method, which is that's an acronym, and then creating your superhero with that. And this one is shift happens. So if you're trying to create body positivity in your outer shell, inner shell, brain, mind, heart, all of that kind of good stuff, then if nothing else is working, perhaps this gentle shift will shift in the perspective and help you, guide you on your way from getting out of whatever this mode is to whatever mode that you want to get to. That is a positive shift up. Alrighty, so in this episode I am going to cover the shift happens, the 3 ways to change your perspective. I'm also going to give you a laughter yoga exercise that is a core shift. Yeah, and then we're going to do the linear iso shift, which I just demonstrated to you. Alrighty, so thank you for joining me. If you are new here, say hi, welcome, hit the like button, thumbs up, share, all that kind of good stuff. Tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching the recording, thank you very much. If you're watching live, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here. And who am I? I am Shay Rippinger of Hoopla. I help wise-minded women get happy, healthy, and more holistic through with my heart, humor, and hula hooping. So that is part of my perspective, why I coach, why I make professional hoops for people, and why I instruct as well and coach. So on that note, I'm going to get diving in here on how to change your perspective. So that gentle shift and why changing perspective makes a difference. Okay, so you have this thing that happens and you have your view of it, right? But, sometimes you need to take a look at the other view of it. So, and make a perspective shift, because sometimes we're stuck in a rut and we need to move out of that rut somewhere else. So we need to shift, positive shift somewhere else, different direction, right? Okay, so now that we agree on that, here's the 3 ways. So, number 1 way to make that perspective shift is to look at the situation, whatever the situation might be, like a documentary director. Yes, like a documentary director. So what you're going to be doing is, when you normally have a regular movie, it's going to have a perspective, a theme, a slant, all of that kind of good stuff. It's not just presenting a topic, but it's presenting the emotions of the topic. And a documentary, it can also do that as well and get you involved and make you, and usually a good documentary really wants you to change by taking a look at the reality of this thing. But it's looking at it in an observational way and not trying to put a spin or a slant on it. That's how a good documentary works. Good news reporting as well. It looks at a situation and gives the different sides of the issue. So that's, you want to take a look at that like a documentary film director. Okay, and looking at it from different sides of the issue, that's second point. So you want to look at it not just from your shoes, your perspective, but maybe get in somebody else's shoes. What does it look like from your friend's point of view? What does it look like from this person's point of view, or that person's point of view? Or, if you were maybe a younger you or an older you, say, you use your alter ego. Maybe you're a wiser you, a superpower you. What does that person give you advice, and how does that person overlook and see the situation? So there's a good movie that it's a little bit of an older movie now, but not terribly old, but it is at the moment. So and it's called Vantage Point, and it was a really interesting thing about it solidified a point that I bring up a lot about. There's this thing that happens, and then depending on which side of this thing you're on is how you see it. So there's what actually happens, the event. The event is neutral, right? But then I see it my way. You see it your way. And so Vantage Point, the movie, is actually about an actual event that happens. Well, not an actual event. It's a fictional event because it's a movie. And but depending on literally the physicality place that everybody is seeing this thing happen from, they have a completely different take on what happens from their perspective. So this almost a full circle view from these different people, and it's a very different story from everybody's shoes. So it's a very good indication of it's a way to open up your mind and go, what does it look like from over here, from over here, from over here? So this thing that you're dealing with, when you change your perspective, get in somebody else's shoes, metaphorically speaking, of course, or maybe literally. So maybe put their shoes on and see what you think and look at it from that perspective. But you don't have to get quite so literal with it. But that's the second way of doing it, is to check out that vantage point, get in, look at it from the other perspectives. So that's another way to do that perspective shift. And then lastly, after you've looked at it and observed, you've looked at it from different angles, now you're going to pick something, and this is the fun part. I like step 3. This is my favorite. This is the accentuate the positive. So you're going to take whichever angle you like best and accentuate it because you like it, because it makes you look good. It's your good side. It's whatever that is. So, and the reason why I say accentuate the positive is a lot of times we spend a lot of time dwelling on the negative parts of things. And for instance, there was a person that I really liked a lot, and he made fun of himself because he was balding, and he brought a lot of attention to it. And so I'm a short person, he's a tall person, but I said, just out of curiosity, why do you do that? Why do you do that? The only time I notice that is I wouldn't notice it at all because unless he's sitting. But because he kept pointing it out, then I was like looking for it. So if he wouldn't have said anything about it, I would have really not noticed. I mean, I don't care if how much hair he's got or whatever. If I'm going to have a conversation with somebody, that's not a big issue for me. So he thought of that as a negative for him. And first of all, maybe I don't think that's a negative. Maybe I think that's a positive. So far be it from me or you or whatever to say that the quality that we're dwelling on is a negative in all situations. So that's the point of that. But also just to find something else to focus on. Focus on something that you like, that's positive, and move up from there. And that's part of the body positive. I wrote an article called Baby Got Back. I've got a link to it in the description here of this video. And it was about my journey of how I was like a lot of, especially high school girls, who, we're looking at media images and comparing ourselves to these super standard people. They're above and beyond of what regular people are, and because you don't know at that point. I mean, we do now, but that's not real. A lot of times that's not real. It's photo touched. It's boy, when I worked at I worked at the Coors Media department a little bit, and it was really interesting because they were doing all the graphics of all the swimsuit models with the beer cans of Coors beer, and what they were doing to the swimsuit models and how they're shaving off they're adding stuff here and taking off stuff there, and watching the editors work with these female bodies, these male editors, of like what their image of what this person should look like, and it was kind of ridiculous. But another fascinating part of that was they were this was interesting, photoshopping a map onto the swimsuit, which that was actually interesting, of, you know, dropping the shadows in there and things like that. And so, you know, they weren't necessarily altering at that point, other than, you know, maybe taking a white swimsuit, for instance, or whatever color the swimsuit was, dropping out the background and then overlaying the map on it, so it looked like a fabric map. So it would stretch where the curves are, and, you know, and come tight where the, you know, the curves go in, and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of fascinating. But what they did to the photos was just, you know, kind of horrifying to me. But, you know, it's just like, wow, you took an actual beautiful person who was naturally beautiful in the eyes of most people, and made her into this, you know, like comic book character, basically, who was really not real. So, and I'm sure the model would even be shocked at what they've done to her image. So anyway, but yes, so, but accentuating the positive, and also getting back to that story of my own personal journey of body parts and things like that. You know, we tend to not like things, and or think of something that, you know, we don't like about ourselves, or whatever the case may be. And maybe you're different. Maybe you like everything about yourself. And in which case, this is not new information for you. You've been doing this all along. But generally speaking, most of us are working on something. We're trying to, like, you know, okay, I could do this a little bit better. I could, you know, I'd like to change that a little bit, and all that kind of stuff. So, in high school, I didn't know, you know, that I was commented on about my rear end and being big and stuff like that, and by a family member, and that was just kind of rough. And then finally I had enough of the commentary, and I turned around and said, where do you think I got this from? Because it was genetic. So that squashed that conversation quickly. And but after that, after I'd felt so bad about something that I really couldn't do anything about, when I went into college, I was trying to shift my perspective of, you know, I'm like, well, why do I have to hate my body? Why do I have to hate body parts? Because the magazine says that it's supposed to be like this. And I'm like, all right, what can I shift here? What can I shift? I'm like, can I like something? Anything. Something. A little something. Just try it. And so you know, this is me talking to myself, you know, just trying to get me out of this state of negativity, basically, of self-negativity and self-deprecation. And, you know, I didn't have to necessarily tell others about this, that I hated this stuff. I just beat myself up about it, and, you know, many of us do. And so instead I changed the perspective, and I was trying to pick out something that I liked. And that took a while. That took a while. And finally I went, my shoulders. You know, why not? Because it was like, yeah, who doesn't like her shoulder? You know, it was like, whatever. The shoulder seemed like a kind of an innocuous thing to like or admire or something like that. So I started liking my shoulders. And then there was a movie that came out called What's Love Got to Do with It? And it had Angela Bassett in it playing Tina Turner. And she had these magnificent arms. And when I say magnificent, they just were toned and defined and beautiful, and, you know, no jiggle, and it was just beautiful, a thing of beauty. And so I set out to have Angela Bassett arms, because I already started liking my shoulders, because I said, all right, I think I like my shoulders. So I, you know, put some love into loving the shoulders and stuff like that, and the arms were attached, and so I started doing things that helped the arms, and then that you know, started filtering out to all over my body, where I wasn't, you know, self-loathing anymore, and I started liking and appreciating. And if you really get into the sense of appreciating, of a real good power shift on, if you're talking about body positivity and body confidence, is appreciating everything that your body does for you, all of the things that it performs, and the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, all the things that run things behind the scenes. You know, how do you move your hand because you want to move your hand, and there's signals going through that even use the intestines, the gut, the second brain. I mean, the body is magnificent in its inner workings and outer workings. So, when you start looking at it and shifting your perspective on that, and the positivity that can go in, and like, wow, how do you wake up in the morning and do the things that you do, brush your teeth and go to work, or whatever the case may be, take care of the kids, or plant a garden, or shovel snow, or talk to somebody on the phone, help a person out, pet your pets, help your kids with homework, whatever the case may be. These are all miraculous things that we do, and this vessel that is our body, we should really appreciate a lot more than, give this credit, give this a lot of credit. There's a lot going on here, and it's very positive. It may not be functioning up to full capacity every single day, but appreciate the things that are working. So accentuate the positive. So, like in hooping, for instance, I tell my students, there's days where something's coming and something's not working for you. So instead of working on the thing that's not very easy that day, and it's just, you're just banging your head against the wall, work on something else. So, same thing in yoga. If you're falling out of balance, maybe work on a different pose other than a balance pose. Maybe work on something that's strength related, or work on the other side. Or maybe sometimes you just need to work your way through it. So there's different things that you can do to shift your perspective and accentuate the positive. I like doing that when I help people out with their choreography too. That's one of my little tricks that I use, is I ask people, what do you do really well? What do you really like doing? Let's do more of that in your choreography, because that's something that you excel in. So, when you get to your dance for your performance, then you'll probably remember it because you like it better. It's your favorite thing. It showcases your skills, all of that kind of good stuff. So it's accentuating the positive. So try that. Accentuate the positive. Yes. So, all right, we're going to try a laughter yoga exercise. Now, this is on perspective shift, and we're actually going to do a shift. This is actually a little bit of a belly dance move. It's a rib cage isolation, but we're just going to shift from side to side. So what I'd like you to do is put your hands on your hips, take a nice deep breath in, roll the shoulders back, and you're going to shift over to the side, and you're just shifting all the way over. And then, so inhale on one side, and then exhale, release, and come back to center. Inhale. Take it over to the other side, release, and come back to center. And I'm going to stand up for this so you can see a little bit more with the hips. And so you can do this standing or sitting, but I highly recommend standing with this. So we're taking hands on the hips. You can leave the feet about shoulder width apart on this. And we're going to take that nice deep breath in. And then shift it over to the side. And then exhale. Bring it back to center as you laugh it out. So shift it and breathe it in. Inhale in through the nose, and then shift back to center, laughing it out. And then inhale it in, shifting over to the side. This is also a great back stretch. And then exhale, laugh it out to center. One last time. Shift over to the side while you inhale. And then exhale, bring it back to center. It's hard to say that and do all of that, all of those things. So at the end of laughter yoga exercise, so you can also do this where you're inhaling into one side and then exhaling and shifting all the way over to the other side. So what I want you to really concentrate on that with is keeping the shoulders parallel, like somebody's doing this with your shirt. So you're moving, and that's why I want you to hang on to your hips. Bend the knees slightly so you get a little bit more of that movement. And you're keeping the hips in place, and you're just shifting this perspective right here, which is your core. So it's just, you're shifting the rib cage. Shifting the rib cage, shifting the rib cage. So that's the laughter yoga exercise. So at the end of laughter yoga exercises, we take our fingers together, hands together, we clap twice and say very good, yay. So ready? Try that with me. Very good, yay. There's one. Very good, yay. There's two. All right. So now, I'm going to remain standing. If you happen to have a hula hoop and you want to learn this move, great. Let's do this. So this is a linear iso shift, and at least that's what I'm calling it. It's it's using some principles. So this is going to be, so linear isolation is normally a release. This can be a much more challenging move for beginners to learn. I'm just going to show you basically a basic version of this and then give you a nice fun twist variation of this. So what we're going to do is, it's an isolation, so we're going to start with an outside grip, thumb up. I've got this in my right hand. I'm using a small hoop for right now just to demonstrate in this space. You can use whatever hoop size you want. Realize that the bigger and the heavier the hoop, when you're doing these arm extensions, this is going to wear a little bit on your shoulders. And what you really want to do is have the strength in your arms, but try not to wear out your arms. So if you're using a bigger, heavier hoop, you might need to take a break on this with the arms, and you want to relax and release out the muscles so that you're not tensing them all up and trying to do this while you're learning. Okay, so that's a quick tip on that. Okay, so we're going to start thumb up, outside grip, and you're going to work the hoop over, and the hoop is going to come in a straight line over to the other side and shift over to the other side. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to start bending right here, and I'm driving down this, what I call the smile of the hoop, the bottom portion of the hoop, and we're just doing the bottom portion, and then I'm going to reach all the way across to my left, and now the thumb is going to be down with this. So now I'm going to do the exact opposite move, and I'm going to take this, driving down that smile portion and pushing the hoop out. So thumb is going to be up now. So I'm driving down and pushing out, straight across, driving down, pushing out. So notice that the top of my hoop and the bottom of my hoop are trying to be in a parallel line to the ground. And it's also doing this all the way across, okay? Straight across, straight across, straight across. That's the goal that I'm going for, and that's what I'm trying to have you do. So you're starting out from a midpoint, mid-quadrant point, so this is about 9 o'clock on your hoop, and then you're going to drive down to the 6 o'clock position, straight down at the bottom, and then the 3 o'clock position at the side, and this thumb is down. So, and then we're going to reverse that exact opposite and push it back out. So all the way over to the left and to the right, to the left and to the right. Now here's the fun part. Ready? So now we're going to, right here, now I'm going to take the left foot and I'm going to be turning towards a half turn towards the back. And so as I do this and I'm stepping out with my left hip, left leg backwards, I'm going to bring this, thumb is still down, and I'm going to go outside and push the hoop out. What? Yes. So now I'm going to be driving over the top to get that move. So driving over the top to do that turn. And then I'm going to move that left leg again to come back into position, otherwise I turn all over the place. So I'm basically doing a turn in place. So I'm out to the side here and back to the original starting position. So I'm bringing it all the way out, across the body, thumb down, and then I'm going to step and turn and do an outside grip and push it out. So you can do this all day long. So this is the rainbow over the top of the hoop. So you're bringing over. Again, you're keeping the hoop in a linear pattern. So this is a linear isolation pattern that we're doing. So one more time. So I'm taking it across the body, driving down the smile, the bottom half of the hoop, and then I'm going over the top and pushing it out the top half of the hoop. Yes. Yeah. There we go. So sometimes you have to stop and think where you are in space and which direction you need to travel with this. And I encourage you to do this on the other hand as well. So I'm going to wrap that portion up so that I can get you on your merry way. So definitely try that in both hands, both directions, all that kind of good stuff. And reverse the direction while you're on your other hand as well. It'll pop a lot of brain cells for you at first, but then you'll be like, oh, this is fun. This is fun. So, alrighty. So nutshell recap. So we did Shift Happens. This was part 5 of the 5-part body positive series. Be confident, or body confidence was number 1. Stop apologizing was number 2. You are already awesome, number 3. And number 4 was the WWAF. Oh yeah. Also known as superhero alter ego. And then this part 5 was Shift Happens. And that is shifting your perspective. 3 ways to change your perspective. 1, look at it like a documentary director. 2, so be more observational with that. 2 was to look at it from different vantage points, different perspectives, and see your situation from different angles. And then the 3rd was to find something that you like and accentuate the positive of that. And then we did the laughter yoga core shift, where we put our hands on our hips and we shifted over with the inhales and the exhales, and on your exhales to laugh it out, or at least smile. That's going to get those happy endorphins in there for you. And then we did the hoop linear iso shift. So we took this over, and then we turned it backwards. So we went over the top, and then down below. So I hope you enjoyed those. Those were a lot of fun. I enjoyed being here for you, and I really enjoy you being here for me. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your valuable day schedule. I appreciate it a lot. So hit the thumbs up if you haven't already liked, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I bring new videos every week. This particular week, I really got in a lot. I got in a month's worth of work because I was a little bit behind. So now I'm on track. I'm back on schedule. So, so there's extra videos this week for this particular series. So, yes. So, and also if you subscribe to the channel, which I really hope you do, please hit the notifications bell on, and that way you'll be alerted to new videos. And there's a whole bunch of tutorials, both hooping tutorials and laughter yoga tutorials, as well as many episodes of the Hoopla of Y'all show to watch. And this was episode 130. Yes. I'm so happy about that. Thank you so much for helping support the channel so that I can continue to bring these. So I do have a PayPal link and a Venmo link if you are so inclined to help donate. That helps further the cause of me bringing good stuff to my peeps. So I consider you one of my peeps. You're under my wings. You're the wind beneath my wings. We're the wind when you travel in a pack of let's see here, not that you would travel in a pack of geese, but the leader takes over and takes most of the wind resistance, and then the rest of the pack follows along and gets that the drafting, so that they don't have to do as much effort with the wings. And then the leader steps back and somebody else leads, and they take a little bit more of the burden at the beginning and let the other ones kind of have an easier time at flying. So that's what my perspective is as a coach and a teacher, to help make whatever a little bit easier for you so that you can get through it, move through it, grow from it, whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's just a little positivity, motivation, and sometimes it's just a smile and a laugh. Just hopefully a little bit of enjoyment in your day. So thank you so much. I hope you share this with somebody that you want to give enjoyment to your day to, and I really appreciate it. So rock on, peace out. I will see you on the next video. All right, take care.